Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's meeting. Thank you very much for creating time to join this session. We are hoping to have an informative session, engage one-on-one. My name is Grace Boy. And cybersecurity analyst at Security Technologies Limited. We provide cybersecurity solutions like data protection, vulnerability assessments, to do digital forensics, and also help organizations in complying with different laws in terms of data protection law. So I'm going to invite my colleague to briefly introduce himself even as we proceed.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Anthony Kiragu, a digital forensics and cybersecurity analyst here at Sectiness Technologies, and we'll be taking you through the meeting.
So in today's session, we are going to discuss what is email phishing, how we can identify email phishing, and also how to mitigate in case you get an email that so we begin. Email phishing is a scheme that is used by an attacker to exploit you, and they mostly use emails. They mostly use emails to exploit the victim. And so one of the things that can be used to achieve email phishing include probably someone sends you an email and this email wants you to quickly change your credentials because probably someone has accessed, let's say, your bank account, and they want to get access to some of the details in your account. So the attacker will trick you to quickly change your details, and without knowing, you click on a link attached to the email, and then you end up giving out your details, which can further exploit you and expose more of your information and confidential information. So we are going to do a brief discussion, and then at the end, we'll have a demonstration using a certain tool called GoFish, which is used to achieve phishing. So what is phishing? What can I do in case I get a phishing email? And what really is phishing? As we can see, the main goal is to get your username and passwords. And so once you get the username and password of an individual, you can be able to use these credentials to gather more information. Let's say, for example, as a user, you are using the same details to log into your accounts, like your social media accounts, your work accounts. And then once someone gets the tiny details about your username and password, they can use it to exploit more accounts and gather more information. And that is why we found it fit to have this session just to discuss and help us remain vigilant and aware in case you get such an email. Most of them come in form of spam. We have experienced spam in one time or the other. And with this discussion, we'll be able to understand more. So phishing is the most common way attackers illegally access systems. And it is a practice that is used to send emails to people who pretend to be legit organizations. They just spoof a domain. For example, they can just come up with a domain that looks to be really true. And this domain is not the exact domain. They can just fake a domain, say like bank.ltd.co.ke. And even without your knowledge, you just think that that email is coming from a legit person and you end up doing what they are asking you. So popular fronts that these criminals use include pretending to be banks, societies, government organizations, charities. Probably they are offering you some finances and funds. And because you're very curious, you just, out of ignorance, go out and click on links or even download attachments. So impact of a phishing attack. One of the impacts is that once you download a link without knowing, it might contain some malware, and this malware can end up infecting your machine, because if a link directs you to a malware site and then you end up clicking on that link, you might end up being infected and even expose more of your information. Theft of data is a key danger with successful phishing attacks. Like 60% of small businesses that suffer an attack close down within 6 months, because if that attack probably was about getting some finances from your organization, you might end up losing a lot of money and even your reputation. Customers stop working with you or partnering with you, and so you end up closing your business. So it's very good to be keen when we are getting emails, especially when we are working remotely. We are using emails as a means of communication most frequently, and we need to be very careful in case we get any email. We need to contact check whether it's really coming from our employees, it's really coming from our colleagues, before we click on the emails and read detail by detail, so that we can be able to check things like the grammatical errors, which are mostly associated with the phishing emails. In case you want to also confirm, you can hover around the URL that has been attached in your email. You can probably search through your browser to really identify the URL. So we're going to move forward. I hope we are well up to that point. So a phishing message is designed to trick you into doing one of the four things. One of the things is to click. Most of these emails usually have a link that tells you to click here, and then you'll be directed to a certain site. In this demonstration, we'll have something like a bank where maybe someone is told to click on a link, and then it will take you to a bank site. And even without your knowledge, you just think that you're at the right website, and you end up doing and following the instructions that you have been given. Another thing that is used is documents attached to an email. Maybe you are told there are some guidelines that need to keep you safe when you're working, or there are policies that have been changed and you need to concur with those policies. And so you end up opening that document, and maybe the document had some malicious hidden things, and then you end up being infected, or your system being infected. Another scheme that is used is asking you to give out your username and password, as we said from the beginning. And then the other one is about funds. Maybe you are told to transfer funds or to quickly pay. Maybe someone is going through a difficult time and they need you to give out some money. And because that message is so enticing, you just end up giving out your money without even noticing you are attacked, and more of the information is exposed. We have different types of phishing attacks, and as we have said, phishing is a scheme that is used to exploit you, and mostly they use emails, but there are also different ways that phishing can be achieved, maybe through a call. Someone just pretends and uses a call even to get more information from you, or even a text message. Most of the people can send you a message, and then yeah, it can also be a form of phishing. So in spear phishing, highly focused attack, which may mimic the email style of the supposed organization the criminal is targeting, and often appear to be from the victim's organizations too. as we have said, maybe someone just spoofs a domain, and this domain appears to come from your organization. And then without knowing, you end up heeding to what the email is telling you, and then you fall a victim of phishing. And then we have baiting, which is dropping off malware infected USBs in common areas in the hopes that someone will pick it up and plug it in. Probably you have something like a flash disk somewhere. You just drop it maybe on a table where you're working, and then someone without knowing comes and uses that flash, and maybe it's infected, and then they end up infecting their machines and exposing them more. And then we have maybe you get an email from a friend. These are people that we trust very much. And now because we trust them, we don't even think that they can in any way exploit us. So we just go on giving them our data, even the sensitive information, and it's good. Do not trust any person, even if it's your closest friend or even your family member. Ensure that you keep this sensitive data to yourself, and always ensure that in case it's emails, you have allowed more security features like encryptions, two-factor authentication, which will go a long way to help you also remain secure in case someone had pipped or even gotten access to your passwords without your knowledge. And then pretexting involves pretending to need information to confirm the victim's identity by luring the victim into a sense of trust. So you make someone to trust you very much and give information about yourself to them. Email phishing example. In this example, we are going to look at some of the characteristics of an email that intends to phish you. And so in this email, we can see that the heading of the email tells us to change the password required immediately. So there's some aspect of urgency. And when you look at change password immediately, you will notice that probably someone has gotten access to your password. And so you develop some fear and you quickly go ahead and change the password. So we'll just read the email very quick. We suspect a security breach happened earlier this week. In order to prevent further damage, we need everyone to change their password immediately. Please click here and do that. So we have a link here which tells us to change the password. And so without even checking, you can see that the person who have sent you the email is from the IT. And so you just click on the change password, and then you're taken to a site where you just give your credentials innocently, you give out your password. And so there is another person at the back who is having access to these details that you are keying in. And it is very much, we need to be very much careful when we get such form of emails. Read again and again and ensure that it is coming from your IT people. For example, you can check that they send us IT. You see, it's just IT at, there's nothing else. And then it's coming to the admin. So you need to contact check on these key details. Cyber attacks for different reasons. Why do we experience cyber attacks in phishing, and why are people exploiting others using phishing? There are so many different reasons that may contribute to this. And so we are going to look at some of them as shown here. Most criminals probably want to get money from you or just exploit you through getting some of your identity. Maybe they want to make your organization to go down. And so once they get access probably to your CEO's username and passwords, there is nothing that they cannot do. And you can end up exposing more information. They can use even insiders, they can use individuals working for you to exploit you further or even to gather more information from you. Another thing that they want is sensitive data, the main target, getting sensitive data from individuals. And this sensitive data can be things like your bank account details and credentials, or even more sensitive data about you, maybe your health details, or any other data that is very much sensitive. And we also have things like the social media. You get that people can use the social media even to embarrass you once they get information about you, and it's very careful how we are using the social media platforms, what we are posting. For example, when you're signing into some of the social media, they ask you about your security, probably your favorite color or even pet. And maybe you can innocently give a name that can easily be used to identify you further. So we need to be very careful what we are sharing on the social media platforms, because they can be used to track and locate you and give more information about you. So phishing messages are designed to get you to react quickly without thinking too much. As we have said, they have some sense of urgency, and you get so curious to proceed to read an email and even go ahead and do what the email is telling you. So we have different things that can help us to remain safe when using emails. One of the key things is always ensure that you do not download attachments from suspicious emails. For example, you've gotten an email that appears in the spam, and it has maybe something like a zipped file like this email here. Do not be very quick to download on this attachment, especially when you're not sure where it's coming from. If you're not sure, it's good to consult your IT support team to help you identify and also know whether the email is legit. Always check the sender's email address that matches the website address. As you can see, it's so easy to check and counter check. You can just put your mouse and hover around to see that the email is coming from a person that you know, or from an organization that is known to you. And also ensure that no matter who you think it could be from, always be suspicious of an email that asks your personal information or login details, because most of the emails asking you for personal information, log into this account, even you don't know, maybe change your credentials. It's good to be very keen. Don't be quick to click on such links or even give out your details. Check for the spelling and grammatical errors in emails. You can see maybe there are some case sensitivity where you can find an email written in uppercase and lowercase where it's not supposed, maybe the punctuations. You need to check on that. If such an email gets into your inbox, always be very cautious about it. And then be very aware of generic introductions where they use generic terms like dear customer, dear esteemed customer, dear so-and-so. At least maybe an email comes from like dear Grace. It will look more like it's coming from a person that I know, because they are recognizing me with my name. But if it comes from a generic term like dear customer, then that email will have some suspicion. So phishing messages are designed to get you to react quickly without thinking too much. As we said, quickly, they have some urgency, maybe they have some offers of money or even free offers of jobs or things like that. Maybe when you do something, you're going to get a reward. They have some confirmations. They come from the IT people who probably send us some support and all. And yeah, they have some odd requests asking you maybe to give out your details, as we have said. So it's good to check on these specific keywords in these emails. What happens when you get a phishing email? Yeah, at one time or the other, you might have gotten a phishing email without your knowledge. And yes, we are here to help you in that. And even if you've not been a victim, it's time that you take care so that you cannot experience the same even in the future. So one of the first thing when you get a phishing email, avoid clicking on the links or even attachments that have been attached to that particular email. Of course, you'll have checked and seen some of the features that we have discussed about an email that is characterized to phish you. And then you can delete that email so that you cannot, maybe you've forgotten and gotten access to it some other time. So you can delete it and permanently delete it from your inbox, and then you can always and immediately report to a person who is responsible to guide you through safely, like your IT person, or even as an individual, you can get access to some organizations which are very helpful in such cases, and they will direct you well. So what happens if I click on a link without my knowledge? My password is stolen, of course, because most of these emails will tell me to give in my details. And so you end up giving your name, your password, and so forth. So one of the things that happens is that you lose your identity, because you are going to give out these details to someone else who is going to take advantage. They are going to get information about you, more information, and they are going even to expose you more. So there will be data leakage. In case it's some important documents like your certificates or something like that, they can end up maybe impersonating or even deleting and editing some of these details, and they end up destroying such important data. And also, if it's in case of an account, you can have account takeover where someone else will get your account, put you in, you end up suffering, and need to be very careful. Also, you can get things like ransomware in case it's something like waiting where someone have left their devices, and then you just go ahead and take like a flash and your system is infected. And in case it's a document or an attachment that you clicked on and it was infected with malware, you also get infected. So we need to be very careful from now henceforth, and to take the key precautions that have been set. What happens if you delete an email? You're safe, because as we said, we have some tendency of forgetting, and maybe you are checking through your emails in your inbox, and then you come across that email once again. You can end up clicking, maybe had not even accessed it before. So it's good to delete it immediately to avoid such instances and to keep yourself safe. What happens if you report? Then the people who you report to will help you in reviewing the links. They will help you. Probably you do not know how to go by and check along the links. They can help you around. In case it's a domain, they can block the domain on your behalf and even remove these messages. And keeping yourself safe, keeping your organization safe. Yes. If you're not sure, skip the link or ignore the file. But the good thing is to always delete that message from your inbox. And as you can see here, there is some browser interface where you can just bring along the link and check it from your browser interface, and you can be able to see that whether the link is really coming from a legit site or a legit organization. Yes. So we are going to go to the practice part of it, and we are going to look at some of the emails that were sent to some people, and the main aim is to phish them. So we are going to have some few emails before we get into the practical bit of it and see how someone can be phished. So in this email, it's a wire transfer, and it is being sent, it's coming from someone called Rebecca to money bags, and then the subject is a transfer problem. So once you see something like this, let's say maybe the person had sent a transfer and it went to the wrong person. So you'll be very, very quick to check it out in case you had previously made a transfer. And so it says, I'm trying to get payment to a vendor. It's important they get paid by close of business. There is some urgency because it wants them to pay them by close of business. So before that day ends, can you please wire blah, yeah, like that. And so once you check it out, you check on this email, one, you see that it's a transfer problem. And in case you had sent some money previously, you'll be very quick to do what the email is telling you, and you end up sending the money that is needed. And then in this next one, the IT support alerts. So maybe your IT person is telling you there has been a suspicious activity happening in your organization. And so you need to click on a certain link so that you can quickly check on that suspicious activity and even work on it. And so in this email, we see that there's a click here. Your computer has been infected with the red bad malware that is on the news. You must click here to use and scan within 12 hours. There is urgency within 12 hours. And then when you see malware, you're like, you feel so much freaked out, and you quickly click on this link here so that you cannot get this malware infecting your device. And then another thing, some confirmation. In this email, we see that the subject is package damage, which says, dear Sonia, we apologize in advance, but your recent order was damaged in delivery. We are unable to issue a refund until we confirm account details with this form. So there's this link that is attached here. Maybe the link will direct the person to a certain form. In this form wants the person to enter their details, and of course, there'll be names, passwords, and so forth. And now the attacker will be able to get access to those usernames and passwords. There is password reset email, which asks this user to reset their passwords. As you can see, it even recognizes the person, dear Malia. So you can see that the person who is being sent will not be quick to notice that this email is from a phishing. It's a phishing email. So your account has been blocked due to potential compromise. You must go to the site to secure your account, and they quickly click on the link. They are taken to the site. They change their details, and without knowing, they have just exposed their identity. This email is calling for help, and so most of us are very proudly kind, and we quickly want to help out. So it says, hey, I need to submit this file for class, but it won't open on my computer. Can you please save it as a PDF? We are so quick to help others. Yeah, it's good to help, but it's also good to be very careful. And so in this email, there's an attached document. And probably when someone just clicks on the document, it might be affected or containing some malware, and you end up being infected innocently out of help. So it's very good to be keen. Even as we help out, we do not trust any person. And then the last one, before we go to the demonstration part of it, attach and attack. Yes, you are eFax Premier user, your electronic fax is attached. This file is intended only for the recipient and is considered confidential. So you also click on this. This one is also an attachment, and you can just click on it and you get infected. So I think with that, we have gotten some of the emails that can be used to phish individuals, to phish organization. And it's very good that in case you have experienced this before, or you have not even gotten access to such emails, you take a next and higher step, even as we move forward from this session, and even as we welcome the next person to take us through the practical bit of it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, hi everyone. So we are going to do the demonstration. So we'll be using a platform called GoFish. It's an open source system that can be set up for I hope now I'm audible enough. So this is GoFish, an open source system that can be used to set up a phishing platform. So you can be able to set it for your users and also to send them some phishing email to test their awareness, and it can also be used for malicious purposes. So I'm going ahead to log in and so that you can all see how it is and also use the platform. So we have been able to log in to GoFish. So this is it. You can see it has a very simple interface to use. And so it uses a bottom top approach, where when you are sending or setting up a phishing campaign, you start from the bottom going upwards. You set first the sending profile, then you set the landing pages, the email template that you want to use, you add the users, and finally you send the campaign. So as you can see, we have a user already. Maybe I can just show you the user. So in this profile, we are going to send email from customer care at banklimited.com, but we have made some small changes. This is because most organizations, their emails, their domains can be spoofed, meaning that somebody can impersonate them, yeah, and be able to send emails to phishing emails to your targeted users or anyone they think they want to fish. So that is it. So when you send, you'll be able to see this link. It came from this customer care at banklimited.com. So you're going to send to that to a user. So you go to the next stage. Okay. So this is the landing page where we want our user to be able to, once he has clicked a link, where he'll be able to land or that website of the bank. So we'll be able to redirect him to that bank so that he'll be less suspicious if there's anything happening. And also some of the other things that we have enabled is to capture submitted data and also to capture passwords so that we can be able to later reuse them. Yeah. So that's the purpose of a landing page, where you want our users, when you send the email, they can be taken to. So you can see it will take them to this page. Then finally, next, we have an email template. So an email template is now where you customize the message that you want the user to to be able to see once he receives that email. Like for our case, we'll be using this template that we have already created. So dear esteemed customer, we write to inform you that an unauthorized login attempt was made on your bank account. As a result, we have temporarily disabled your online banking account to protect your confidential financial information. Please follow the guidelines outlined to resume and regain your account. Then you have been able to put a link so that the user can be able to click on. Yeah. And there's some form of urgency so that you can be able to reclaim their bank account. Once you have confirmed your identity, we'll be able to help you reactivate your online account immediately. We apologize for the inconvenience. Yeah, then it's familiar. Maybe most of the message that the user gets is from the customer care. So that's what we've tried to imitate. And also we have a subject for email. So it's account security alert. So after that, we go to user groups. So in user groups, you can add users as many as we can. And also we have an option of having a CSV file, and which has the list of the email addresses and the user name, first name and the last name maybe, and also the position. Then you can be able to add users to, or you can add manually by filling these fields here. Then it will add. Maybe I can just do a demo on the same. Once I've done, I'll just click on add, and you'll see that that user has been added to our user group. Yeah. So after you've done that, you save the changes. Now, up to that point, you are like 100% done with the campaign that you're already creating. What remains is now to launch the campaign that you have been able to create. And to do that, you now go to the campaigns. So in the campaigns now, you can be able to see the statistics of some of the campaigns that you have already created. But for this case, you're going to do the demo or by sending an email. So launching the campaign. So to do that, you can click on the new campaign button, or you can copy and edit an existing campaign that you have already sent. So this will set the name to the date of today, which is 18th. 18th August. So the email template was end user, that will remain the same. The landing page, since we have no other, it will just select on that. The URL part will remain. Then you have an option of sending the mails to setting the launching date. You can set it the time that you want the emails to go. Then finally the sending profile, all these were there. So finally you select the group. So we select the user group and then launch the campaign. So our campaign has been launched. 2 emails have been sent. Now I will take to my colleague so that he can open the email, click the link, submit data, and see what will happen to our dashboard here, our statistic dashboard. And it will always give me the timelines of when that user did receive the email, clicked on the link, if he did submit data, it will show me, and I will hand it back to my user to do that demonstration.
So as a user, gotten the email from Goldfish, and it comes from the customer care at bankltd.co.ke. And then sorry for that. So we've received our email from Goldfish from customer care at bankltd.com.ke. Yes, and it's just telling us to change our credentials because someone tried to get unauthorized access to our bank account. And so we can just try to move around this link, and then we click on it and see what happens. So it takes us to a bank website, and we are asked to enter our username and password, which I'm going to do immediately. So we've been taken to the bank site where we are asked to enter our username and password, and we are going to do that immediately. And then we go back to Goldfish and see whether this data have been submitted. So we've been taken to our site, our bank accounts, and you can see the balance, some of the transaction. It looks very clear, it's a bank. So when you go back to Goldfish, you are going to get the submitted data and all the activities that have happened from the user.
So back to our platform, you can be able to see that there's some changes that have occurred. So you can be able to see that the email was opened. There was a link that was, the link was clicked on. Data had been submitted. So we can have a deep dive on that customer or that target that did submit the information. So we can always check on them. So we can see the timeline for that customer that we did send. So the email was sent at this time at August 18th, 2021 at 9:55 a.m. The time that that email was opened, the time that that link was clicked, and the time that the data was submitted. So when the victim clicks on the link, you can be able to see we get some of the information about that user. He's using Windows operating system. So you can see even the version is a Windows 10. You can also see the browser that was used to open that link. In our case, it was Chrome, and the version is displayed. And also there was data that was submitted. You can always view the details. So we've gotten the original URL to that bank. We can be able to now further our attacks. Maybe go log into that account. If there is money, we empty that bank account, send to other people. Yeah? If it's a social media account, we can be able to get into the accounts, maybe post some information that is very bad, or even gain some of their sensitive information. So you can be able to see we got the username and also the password. And that was our main goal for the phishing. Yeah, so that's it for our demo. Maybe welcome for a few questions so that we can be able to come to the conclusion of this discussion.
Thank you very much, everyone. So we welcome a few questions. You can also share in the chat. I'm going to respond before we conclude. Anyone? So in the meantime, we are also providing this solution to organizations to help test on phishing on your team. And you can share with us at support@secunet.com. I'll be sharing this at the chat, and you'll get access to the initial setup, the configuration, and even have your own space to configure depending on your test. And we can also help you in sharing an email to test users on their awareness about phishing, and also advise them and offer some user awareness training on the same. So we can proceed with a few questions if there is any.
Good morning.
Good morning too.
Okay, this is Umar. Grace, you're presenting something about the examples that can trick you into rushing and giving out information, but I think this was so abstract, and maybe I may need to you can run me through like those two examples and show me that okay, this is not legit. Okay, this is not legitimate. This is not from the right sender. Because the way you are talking, it actually showed it didn't just shows that it was a general thing, but it was not showing that now this one is a phishing email. Maybe you can run through them like two, and then maybe show me that when you see this, it shows that this is a phishing email. Thank you.
Pandisha juu. So we have an email like this. For example, you have received an email that is telling you that your account has been locked. At most of the times, accounts are not locked, but maybe you'll be told if you have an account from crazymail.net, maybe, for example, you can always check their domain first and see if it really matches the crazynet.net, for example. Maybe you don't have an account there and you're receiving the email. So also you can always, on the link, on the attached link, when you open the link on the browser, it will always show you where the real URL of this link that has been hidden within this word. You can always confirm from the website. Maybe we'll show you on the email that we are able to send how from the viewing of the browser you can be able to see if that URL is similar to that of what you're getting. So from this end, you can be able to see that the URL that is appearing is not that of the bank that we are showing in the demo. That's how you can now be able to see the real URL that was hidden in the words.
Okay, then that is elaborative. Thank you very much.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
I have a question. Once I click on the phishing email link and I get to submit my data, and the attacker gets the access to my data, and let's say it's a link like the one you have demonstrated, the bank account, the attacker gets to access my data, goes ahead and withdraws the money or does the transaction. Is there a way that I can be able to get my money back, or once I've clicked and the attacker gets access to my data, that's all? There is nothing I can do about it, or is there something that I can do about it? Thank you.
Thank you for your question, Teresia. Once you have done that, and maybe probably, thank you for the question first. And once you have been able to, the attacker has been able to get your details. And when you are checking later, you find that there's no money. First, the best thing that you can always do is to report, so that maybe you can get the statements, because there will always be a trace to where that money was sent to. And then the bank will always advise you if they can be able to do a recovery or a follow-up of the same. Don't keep quiet about that. And finally, when you suspected you've done that, immediately do change your credentials, because once you've changed, even if that attacker has those credentials, it will be useless to him. He cannot be able to use them to gain access to your bank account.
Okay.
Hope I've responded to your well.
Yes, Anthony, thank you. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Purity, you have your mic muted. I don't know whether you want to say something.
Oh, hi, Grace and the rest of the team. Thank you for that presentation. That was awesome. Mine is not really a question, but just a comment of following that presentation. Last week, I fell a victim. Even despite thinking that I at least have an idea of what a phishing email is and how it would happen. So our executive assistant showed me a certain email. I looked at it, told her that was a spam email. Then, but then I told her I'll have a look at it later. Then when I sat down at my desk, I realized the same email had been shared with me by our MD. And it was actually from one of our international correspondences. So I checked their website, noticed the domain was fine, everything was okay. On trying to click on the document, it required I input my credentials, and that's how I knew something was amiss. Unfortunately, it had been sent to several staff and they had tried. Then immediately I clicked on the document. I got now another email from one of our staff members saying that coming from the same correspondent, saying that the email that had been shared by one of their staff members was a phishing email. And I knew most of my colleagues had fallen victim. Yes, so thank you very much for that training, because it has really opened up my eyes, especially when I saw the bank, the username and the password. I was like, wow. So there are people who get information so easily because other people are also ignorant. Yes, so thank you, Grace and Anthony.
You're welcome. Thank you very much for that feedback.
Maybe to add, it's a good cyber hygiene practice that you should not be opening those links. First thing, always, if there's a way that those emails from your provider comes, so it's a good way that you should always do the things how you always do. Don't go ahead to click on that link. Always go to how to previous messages of the same, you can always see if there's always a difference before you even decide to click on that link. Then you can always check on the signatures of those emails. You'll always find this, maybe there's something that will always be amiss with the signatures. They can try very much to imitate those emails, but with the signatures, something can always maybe pop up in your mind. And always maybe place your link, your mouse to that link. It will always show you some information about that link, which can always make you to, before you decide to click, it can always show you that URL attached to that link. Because after you've just clicked on that link, there are some other attacks that the attacker can do, like web hooking. He can hook your browser and use it to spy on you. So he can open your camera, he can do all manners of things. That will be on our next session. We'll show you by just clicking on how an attacker can be able to just be able to spy on you using because of you didn't submit any data, but you just clicked. So how he can be able to hook him and be able to get a remote connection to your machine. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Anthony, for that. I hope every one of us is now well and we are better off than we began this session. I want to take this opportunity to thank all of us for creating time, and thank you very much for listening to us. And we'll have these sessions more and more on a weekly basis, and we welcome you to come and learn and to also come and ask those questions that might be pending and you need some clarity on them. So thank you very much and do have a blessed time and day.
You too, and thank you, Grace.
Thank you, everyone. Have a nice time.